So we're going to do quick opinions about Star is Born. Keep in mind plot and its a message about addiction or its focus of addiction, starting with Hunter.
Starting with me. Okay, so honestly, I thought that the film was great, not only visually, but Luke kind of said the story has been done before. I mean, it's a remake, obviously, but I really did like the whole concept of it and how I never saw the remakes before, so I thought it was a great film. I don't know if you guys have seen the remakes, but the plot itself, I thought it was really well done and hitting the hardships of going through addiction, but also how it affects those around you. Not only you, but your career as well. Bradley Cooper did a phenomenal job acting, and so did Lady Gaga, and their performances in the whole going through the hardships of addiction.
This next part's going to be like the two opposite ends of the spectrum right now, because I absolutely loved it. It's my top movie of the year so far. I don't think there's a lot, I can't foresee things beating it for me personally, and it's just you have that aspect of it's a very familiar story, the idea of a young new person being discovered by an older veteran and the veteran training her. That's a very standard formula. Creed has that formula. I'm trying to think of something else. I'm suddenly blanking. Anyway, but that's a very similar trope we've seen before. But you take that context of, first of all, it's the fourth version of one movie, so that automatically is kind of you can't really judge it for being something similar. And then you have the fact that when you have something that's a very familiar story, you have to supplement it by being a unique take on that story. And I think it does that very well because it doesn't focus so much so on the rise of the Lady Gaga character Allie. It's not as focused on that. It's focused much more on their relationship and specifically on how he's handling their relationship. And it's very interesting to tell. There are moments part of it's Bradley Cooper's amazing performance. It's his career best. It's it is in best of the decade conversation for me. It feels like Joaquin Phoenix and The Master or equal parts Leonardo DiCaprio and The Wolf of Wall Street. It's just there are moments of where it's so self-destructive and angry at the world where it's that you see that as the fuel, but then there are parts where you see, and that's where the alcoholism sets in, and it's he's someone that sees himself spiraling down. But then you see the part where when he's with Allie or when he's playing music, his songs, that's the moment you see he becomes immortal, I guess is the word to say. Look who's late to the party.
Wait, watch out for the camera. Watch out for the camera.
And
the camera.
Oh, gee.
If we dyed his hair brown, he'd look like Bradley Cooper in A Star is Born.
Okay, back to Luke.
Okay, my opinion on A Star is Born, I thought everything about it was well done. Very well. All the acting was on another level. The chemistry that Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper had were spectacular. I thought especially the lighting in the film was really, really good. I think, and also the song and the performance, especially when I thought the music felt so emotional and real. And her performance in the song, especially in the movie, it felt so good. I mean, it was really good. I think it definitely is in the Oscar conversation. I just can't put it as winning the Oscar personally right now. But everything in the movie was just done well. It was really fantastic though.
All right, so don't get me wrong. I'm sure this movie's gonna get a bunch of Oscar nominations for music and Bradley Cooper and possibly even Lady Gaga, but I don't know because I think that there are better films that have pushed boundaries further this year that are probably going to get overlooked, like Sorry to Bother You or First Reformed, which are two of my favorites of the year. Probably First Reformed is one of the best films I've seen in years. Sorry to Bother You, that shit fucked me up. I'm sorry for the language, but it was one of the oddest experiences I've had in a movie theater in a long time, and people need to talk about it. People need to talk about Boots Riley a little bit more. But anyways, Star is Born. It's good. You'll like it. See First Reformed. It's so good.
Hey, Spencer, I've been here the whole time.
Great interest.
Yeah, so A Star is Born is also very good, and I would see it for sure. I've not seen the original or any of the past remakes, but yeah, and as Luke said, I wouldn't say it's an original story, even if it wasn't like a remake of a remake, but it's a story done well. I think that there was a lot of subtlety in the way the story was told. It didn't spell everything out for you. It actually kind of took a bit of processing to like figure out, Bradley Cooper's character's backstory, and then realize why he was having like the struggle with Lady Gaga and stuff, kind of in like the subtle ways like of Lady Gaga changing her hair, and that was like I think that was like a key thing of how she changed and like how her hair changed back in the end. It was amazing acting. I think the lighting definitely stood out, where even when they're in their home and stuff, it's kind of this concert-y bar lighting where it's like one main color and like kind of dimly lit. Like they have this neon sign inside their house that's this like stark red, so they're like sometimes in their house with only that illuminating them, and it's like beautiful. I think like the depictions of drug abuse and alcoholism were incredible, and I haven't really performed or anything, but you got like the sense of what it's like to like be on stage and like feel that like energy.
One thing I do want to ask you guys is really about, did Lady Gaga, was she, even to like end the film, like was she always controlled? Did someone always have control over her? Just kind of curious what you guys think.
I feel like it's not so much control, but like more like guidance. She like sees someone that like she knows that this is a relationship, and she can see this is a relationship that will be beneficial for her. And not like in a selfish way or anything. It's not like she's like gold digging or anything like that, but she just genuinely sees like, oh, this is a very healthy relationship for me to have. And so control is one way to use it. I would use like guidance as another, just because she acknowledges that these people have a position over her, but she knows that she can use them to help her get into an equal position with them.
Yeah, like we discussed this after the film, but I think that, there was like, it was like throughout the movie, she wasn't really doing things entirely for herself. Either someone was like kind of forcing her to do something, or she just wasn't doing the thing that like was really in her soul. Okay, spoiler alert right now for the ending of the movie. After Bradley Cooper's character kills himself, and she gives that performance of like the love song he wrote her, I think that was, her giving a message she wanted to tell in the way she wanted to tell it. She was back to her natural hair color. Like she didn't have like backup dancers or like glammy lights or anything. It was just like her singing, giving this like message. And even though like he wrote the message, like it wasn't one of the songs she wrote, I think it was like, because they had like such a shared connection, it was still her song and her message. So yeah, I think at the end she wasn't being controlled or guided by anyone. It was just her.
Yeah, and fun fact, that last final scene was filmed at the Shrine across the street from USC, which was cool. But that's why they had the premiere there, because it was a big auditorium and stuff.
Yeah, I think I'll go into some like criticisms about the movie. There were definitely scenes and sequences that seemed out of place. The biggest one definitely being Dave Chappelle's little scene and sequence where, spoilers for this section, it's like halfway through the movie. Bradley Cooper like goes on like a bender and wakes up outside of, an old friend's house who's played by Dave Chappelle. and he's there like recovering, and Dave Chappelle has like this family. I think they used to be in a band together of some sort, or Dave Chappelle was in like he was in the entertainment like music business at some point, but decided to like get down and make a family. Then Lady Gaga's Ally comes to like bring Bradley Cooper back, take care of him, and they see this family having fun. Bradley Cooper decides to propose, and they get married right then and there. But it's like we've just been introduced to like Dave Chappelle's character and his family, and they're already influencing like the two main characters so much, and then we don't even see them like at any other point during the movie. And another similar one is the fight Bradley Cooper has with his brother kind of comes out of nowhere. It's like this little short thing that doesn't really seem to impact him that much, losing his like brother and like manager, like who like raised him since he was like 13 and stuff. That does at least come back later.
I thought it was kind of one thing I thought was kind of interesting was at the beginning of the film where Lady Gaga's performing at a drag bar. Considering that like she thinks of herself as being different and not beautiful, so she felt like she had to go somewhere where she could fit in and perform. I just have a question for all you guys. What do you think about her transition from performing at that drag bar to basically immediately performing in a crowd of thousands? Did you guys feel that intensity that she felt, where the pressure of being in front of that many people?
I'd say it pulls it off really well. It's just like, first of all, Lady Gaga's performance, like as she's the sequence he's talking about is when they play the I believe The Shallow, which is like the go-to song of that film. And there's a multitude of reasons it's pulled off, I think, successfully, because first of all, Lady Gaga's performance, it shows that she's nervous. Another thing that really helps it in making that performance seem more natural is the way that the cinematographer, Matthew Libatique, he shoots it. And like everyone like knows it's a use of off-screen space. Everyone knows it's a concert and there's thousands upon thousands of people there. But he always shoots it so that it's just showing Gaga and it's just showing Cooper. So like as audience members, we feel that it's just those two singing to each other. And like that's the way that he's trying to make her feel. And so that's why that transition is pulled off very well.
I would agree. I think that the cinematography was very good. I thought that, the use of, like, the close-ups and a lot of close-ups and medium shots were able to represent, like, a really personal feel to the movie. So I thought the cinematographer did a great job and it was a nice touch.
Just to conclude, I think that A Star is Born is just a focus on those two and their and her rise to stardom, and really about the relationship, not about there is other things you have to do with the producer and whatnot, but it's really about where those two are and their mindset.
Yeah, I would agree, and I think the direction and the cinematography worked really well to sort of like create that personal feel, and I think it made the film like a much more powerful representation of people and not necessarily events.
And my final thought about the whole message and Luke saying that it is about their relationship, and it's so true. And it also about the separation of their relationship when there was a very cinematic shot when Bradley's looking at Lady Gaga rehearse, and then you just get a reflection in the background of these of their shadows, and that's almost like what Lady Gaga was to him at that moment, just a shadow. He was struggling with addiction. He said some terrible things to Lady Gaga, called her ugly, and that's kind of what it showed at that moment. They didn't really have a relationship. They were just two different people at that time, and Bradley really had to step up and apologize. So,
yeah, I'd say my final thoughts are, this is definitely a love story more than anything else. It's not really about the entertainment industry. It's more about just the story between these two characters.
All right, so my final thoughts is I loved it. this is extremely my kind of movie. It's very personality driven. It's got big spectacle sequences along with humanistic tiny moments, and it's just it hit all the right marks for me. And like every single aspect of like the screenplay and the acting and the directing, the lighting, it's all like good to great. Like there's no part of it I would say is actively bad. So that's my thing about it, and it hits all the marks.
And so that concludes episode 1, Stars Are Born. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.